prove that it's a very special day. I woke up early this morning with gloom on my head. Had a big feeling to climb back in bed. Then I looked in the mirror and somebody said, wake up, wake up. It's time for you to lose the blues, and this is a very special treat. Tell it to everyone you meet that life is all for living and love is all for giving. So this is a very special day. Tell it to everyone along the way that this is a very special day. Up early this morning with gloom on my head. Had a big feeling to climb back in bed. Then I looked in the mirror and somebody said, wake up, wake up. It's time for you to lose the blues, and this is a very special treat. Tell it to everyone you meet that life is all for living and love is all for giving. So this is a very special day. Tell it to everyone along the way that this is a very special day.
Very good morning. It is a fabulous, fantastic, maybe just a little freaky Friday, and that means my partner this morning, my co-host, this morning, Holly Thompson, both of them, just take them both. Holly Thompson with Salem Crossing. Good morning, Holly.
Good morning.
I just came in from Boston. In the harbor. They did what? Don't think I made them talk. You know how I am. So I flew in, got in about, I don't know, 1 or 2 in the morning. We got in bed at maybe 3 or 4 in the morning, so all's good this morning. Had a couple hours sleep. We're good.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah, but anyway, a lot of fun it was. But, yeah, Boston, they have that accent, you know. And have you ever been, Chris?
Yes, I am.
Okay, yeah. It's different. And they are different mannerism. Everything's different than we are.
Yeah.
So we went and real quick. We went to the actually. I just went blank. The tea where they threw the tea, the museum where they. Help me out. The Boston Tea Party.
The Boston Tea Party.
Sounds like. Anyway, the Boston Tea Party, and we got to throw tea over the side, and we said we would not tell that we did it, because that's treason.
Yeah.
So you can't do that. So we did that. That was a fun. And I say anybody that goes to Boston, please try to do that, because that is so much fun, that museum. And we had, of course, we had actors, and they were doing it all fantastic. A lot of fun. And then we went to see where Paul Revere did the big ride. The British are coming. We did Run the Streets, and we hollered that. And
oh my goodness!
Of course we did.
Of course you did that.
Of course we did. So there was, I think there's probably going to be some videos. I don't think I videoed it, but there was a lot of other people that were videoing that. But they actually, we went to the church where this is so cool. He rode by, and I cannot think of the name of the church. I'm sorry. I'm thinking, and nothing's happening over here. But this was cool. Up there in the very top, it's like a huge bell tower, is actually the lantern that he lit.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I know. I wish I'd have paid a little more attention in history. It's really so fascinating. But he lit that lantern. Of course, he made the ride, but he also lit that to tell the British were coming. So that was cool.
Neat.
So the church was, it was beautiful, and the streets were like brick. It was just real. It's just beautiful.
Shot heard around the world.
Exactly. Yeah. So anyway, went to that and went to his home and where he lived, and he had several children. And so where they raised his family, so that was fun. And as Krista said, you got to try a lobster roll, which
and so you did,
and it's real lobster, like it's really good. Like it's not the
imitation lobster.
It is the real thing, and it's delicious. So Krista, she steered me right on that. So things I would suggest: go to the Boston Tea Party Museum. and go see Paul Revere's house and the whole ride. They'll take you through it. It's really cool. And then also eat a lobster roll. So
Okay.
things to do in Boston. And there's a great other things to do too.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that was cool in the harbor.
Fun time.
In the harbor. Yeah. All right, Holly, let's take our sponsors this morning.
We'd like to thank Meadowview Healthcare, Walmart, Salem Crossing, Americans for Prosperity, Mama Roses, Fox Pearly Wealth Management, Dr. Black's Eye Associates, Dr. Mindy Gunn, Marshall Monuments, Springer and Springer Insurance, Schneck Hospital, Temple and Temple, and West Bowers for Commissioner. Thanks to our great sponsors.
All right, awesome. And we do want to thank all of them. And of course, my trip was a business trip, but anyway, it's good to be back. We're on to the 17th day of April. Today is Bat Appreciation Day.
Mm.
Okay.
Like the animal bat,
I think
or the
bat.
swinging bat?
Yeah, I think like the animal. It shows an animal bat.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm not really a fan because they kind of like swoop down and like bite you real quick, you know. And yeah,
They're
so
cool to watch, though.
they are cool to watch. Yeah. Blah 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 day.
I feel like that today.
Chris, you ever say that blah blah blah?
Oh yeah.
And Holly, you say it sometimes.
Yes.
Yes. Or remember on Seinfeld, yada yada yada. Yeah, they would go
Mhm,
yada yada yada.
mhm.
Yeah. This is also International Ford Mustang Day.
Oh, that's my favorite.
All right. This is also National Cheese Ball Day.
Who doesn't love a good cheese ball?
Love a good cheese ball.
Mhm.
Yeah. National Crawfish Day. Chris, you like crawfish?
You know, I've had them.
Yeah.
They're different, but
Yeah.
they're not bad. They're
Yeah.
not bad.
Okay.
That's a no for me.
Yeah. I can pass. I can pass on that one.
Believe it or not, years ago, Ken Barrett, who I went to school
Yeah,
with and
uh-huh.
graduated with,
Yeah.
he actually caught some
Ah.
down at Rotary Springs and fixed them. And sauteed them in butter and all that, and you know, they weren't that bad.
Boy, that's
They're
a
pretty
blast
good.
from the past to hear Rotary
Oh.
Springs. Remember how fun, beautiful? That was
Oh.
like paradise.
It was beautiful.
Remember? And the Boy
Yeah.
Scouts were really good about taking care of that.
Well, that was one of my Eagle Scout projects, was to redo and put a roof on the shelter down there. The whole deal. It makes me sick to know that they're not doing much with it anymore.
Yeah, I remember that when the Boy Scouts did that, because they kept it so beautiful, and then we'd have really nice picnics down there.
Yeah.
It was beautiful.
Where
Oh.
where was it?
It's out, if you go out like you're going to Parton's salvage yard, go out Cox Ferry Road.
Mm-hmm.
It's out there probably about a mile and a half before you get to Parton's. It's right there on the right and down over a hill, but it's beautiful. I mean, it was a beautiful place. Has a believe it or not, it was cold. My goodness, was it cold? But you could take a shower down there. There's a waterfall there,
Mhm.
24 hour, or 365
wow.
days a
Yeah,
year.
it's
There's a
absolutely
waterfall.
gorgeous. Yeah. Yeah, and like he said, you kind of go down the hill, and then like you just go into a paradise.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
So is
Yeah.
it not open anymore? Or no.
I think they let it grow up. There was yeah.
That's sad.
Several of those boy childhood memories. Right now they're in a big to-do about what to do with Tunnel Mill over at the Boy Scout Reservation. 43 acres of nothing but just awesome.
43 acres. Oh
Yeah,
wow.
and they're talking about either getting rid of it or whether they need to preserve it. And I really would like to see them preserve it.
Yeah. Well, I know the Rotary Springs, was so much fun. We had a lot of fun on that. So that's funny. When you said that, I'm like, wait, you just said, I haven't heard that, forever. So
Yeah.
I'm with you. But I did know the Boy Scouts. Yeah, they did. They really were. They were very good at that.
Yeah.
So that's cool, Chris. All right, we do have Chris Strange on, and Chris Strange, this is a paid political program paid for Chris Strange for sheriff, and good to have you on. First of all, let's go over last night. Had a big dinner last night, and you were there
Yes.
at the. I didn't get to make it. My flight we were delayed, which is how that happens. But tell us about the dinner there.
Well, first off, you had a proxy there.
Yes.
So,
Yes.
he stood up and talked for you.
I
and
appreciate
that sort of thing.
Did he do okay?
He did great.
Okay.
He did great. Yeah, Greg did great.
Okay, I appreciate that. Okay, thank you, Chris,
But,
for that report. Okay.
That was, I had some of my family there, some supporters there. I think we're supposed to only have 8 people at the table. I ended up having 9 or 10, I'm not sure.
Oh.
And however, we had a really good time. My wife and I really enjoyed talking to people and getting to, a lot of people I knew, but several I met that I didn't know. So it was a good time.
I love that. What did let's kind of, because we're going to talk about some of your thoughts and ideas and stuff. You are running for sheriff, Washington County Sheriff, which we know is a huge position to be in. It's a huge deal. But what did you? Because I think they gave each person a few minutes to speak. What was your selling point? What was your, I'm going to call it the elevator speech in radio? We always say, oh, give us your elevator speech. What was your main topics that you hit, when you stood up last night to talk about yourself?
Well, I just told people I wanted to be the sheriff, and that we were I was looking forward to working with people, that sort of thing. Didn't really have a whole lot of time, and right in the middle of my speech, the mic went dead.
Oh.
It just died. So I had to, it kind of threw me for a second, but
Sure.
I went ahead and finished up, and it wasn't anything crazy, but we all just got about 30 seconds to introduce ourselves, that sort of thing.
Right. Well, yeah, I didn't think you got played up much time.
Nancy and I were there, and like I said, my mom and dad were there, so we had a good time.
Oh, I'm so happy.
Yeah.
Well, that's awesome. Good, and they've got to be very proud of you.
Oh, yeah.
Definitely. You got good parents. Yeah, but let's go back. So let's talk. We've had, since last time I think we spoke, we also had the forum, which was awesome, and which was really good turnout.
Yeah.
And so, and then there were some ideas that you had, some really different ideas you wanted to share, like different thoughts that why you feel that you would be the best to be the sheriff for Washington County.
Well, a couple of things comes to mind right off the bat. I have a master's degree in business management, and that's a huge thing. That was a huge accomplishment for me in my life. Not only that, but I was an Eagle Scout. I'm still considered an Eagle Scout. Once you're an Eagle Scout, you're an Eagle Scout for life. That I'm in the top 1% of the Boy Scouts for that. So that means a lot to me. Sure. That I was able to get to that point. Several things, though, that I really want to look at working on. We've had some issues with people that have died in the jail cells. I can't say that I will stop that from happening completely, because you never know.
Right.
But what I can do is tell you that they will be discovered a little faster. They will, we will be able to administer CPR and hopefully, possibly revive them. Those are things that I want to really work on. I mean, I want to hit the ground running when that happens. One of the other things that I've had a lot of people ask me about is the work program, where years ago when Claude Combs was a sheriff, he would let trustees, people that they weren't real violent offenders, they weren't anything other than, they're just like you and I, they screwed up and they got in trouble and they're in jail. And I want to bring that work crew back. I want to have people out here working. We're feeding them, we're housing them. We need to get something back from that. And I think that we can do that. And I think that, believe it or not, the prisoners enjoy being able to get out and work and not be just locked up 24 hours a day. So those are things that I want to look at. One of the other things is job retention. I want to deal with situations where people are leaving. We've lost 97 employees in 7 years there. That is crazy.
Sad. Very sad.
It is sad, because you don't realize it, but we have tied, as taxpayers, we have tied thousands and thousands, hundreds of thousands of dollars into retraining. and I want to fix that. I want people to enjoy coming to work. I want to have a good work environment out there. I'm not saying anything bad about the current administration or anything, but the fact of the matter is, I think I can do better. I think I can make it better, and I'm going to work tirelessly at doing that very thing.
Right. Well, I think, yeah, under no circumstances are we, because until you get in that position,
That's
you
right.
never know.
That's right.
So I think you have to
I
be,
do have a little bit better
well,
understanding just because I have been a department head for the county for over 10 years. And so I know what it's like. I never had near that many employees working for me. I have 45 employees at one time, was the highest I had in the summertime. But still, I think most of my people enjoyed coming to work. I think they enjoyed their jobs, and I want to pass that on to the sheriff's department. So the sheriff's department, people don't leave jobs just for money. Money can be a contributing factor, but the fact of the matter is they leave because job satisfaction, because it's not what they want. It's not the job that they thought it was going to be. And so I want to try to help change that. People go to a shooting where somebody dies, or an accident where a fatality where somebody dies. I want to debrief those people and help them get through that tough time, because some of these new guys, they've never dealt with anything like that. So I want to work on that. I think it's important to try to help keep the people we have, and job retention is a huge thing that I'm going to look at.
Was the 97, was that, you said 97 we've lost in 7 years, was that right?
Yes.
Okay. So was that like completely for officers, or was that like just county employees all around?
No, that's just jail staff and police officers. That's one. Well, it's actually two departments that you're overseeing,
right.
But it's those two departments. 97 people in 7 years.
Wow, that's a lot of people. Yeah.
And I get that statistic from a councilman who knows for sure what's happened.
Mm-hmm. So explain a little maybe for us that do not understand, what's the difference between what you're talking about, the officer, and then, what were the two different things?
Jail staff.
Jail staff, yeah. Okay.
The jail staff is people that are actually jailers, matrons. They take care of overseeing the people in the jail that are having to do time for whatever reason, whether they were drinking and driving, or whether they were whatever the case may be. And then the enforcement side, there's 16 slots for police officers, and I don't even think we got those full right now. I think we're working on trying to fill them, but we're not there. But that enforcement side is, the officers that go out here and work and meet the public, talk to people, that sort of thing.
Well, in all fairness, do you feel like, though, all around, I don't think we're unique, our county. Like other counties too, here in Indiana and other states too, are having trouble with keeping officers. I feel like it's really such a tough job, right?
Well, it's a tough job, and this generation of people, of young men and women, they are hopping around, it seems like, to see if they can better themselves, make better money, whatever the case may be. But if the job satisfaction was there, they may not do that. I really believe that I can make a difference in that situation.
Well, and I think, I think that's a lot of officers. But it's sad that we can't keep our own. That's a lot. So, what are some of the ways you just like would go about? I guess go to bat for your guys, or what would you do? I guess.
Well, a couple things. Job satisfaction is huge, and if you enjoy coming to work every day, that means that's a huge part of being able to keep people, because they enjoy when they get up. They enjoy coming to work when they get up in the morning and get ready to go to work. They enjoy their job. It's not just about the fact that they run into people out in the public that maybe disrespects them or whatever. If they enjoy coming to work, if they enjoy when they come into the department to do paperwork, that sort of thing, I want to be able to give them that opportunity to actually enjoy what they're doing. And I think that there are several things, some incentives that you might be able to give to them, that sort of thing, that could help that.
What do you think as far as like officers, how they're viewed? Do you feel like we're like in a different, like the way, society or that the public looks at officers different now, or do you feel like we're, than years ago maybe?
Well, I think definitely officers are viewed a little different than they used to be, and that comes from a couple things. One is the lack of respect sometimes and it's not so much in our rural communities. It's not quite as bad.
Yeah, I think our community is better. Yes, I
Yes.
agree with that. Yeah.
However, what we need to look at is not only do we want to get them to have respect from the community, but we want to give them respect as their boss, as their coworkers, that sort of thing. And I don't know that that's being done quite as well as it should be. And I am 100% convinced that I can make that make a difference in that area.
Yeah, I think it's sad. I think the thing that I feel like, because here I feel like we do, I'm not saying there's not some that don't, but I feel like our officers, we really try to back our officers, and I hope they feel that. I hope they know that. But like I was in New York, and they were like, I was talking to an officer, and he said that they, this has been a few years ago, but he said that they don't get that community love or the respect, and
Well, there's 8 million people in New York, and that is a very blue city.
mm-hmm.
And what I mean by that, it's a very democratic city.
Mm-hmm.
And for some reason, I don't know why, but the democratic cities a lot of people seem to maybe not respect
Well, it's
their
sad.
law
It's very
enforcement.
sad because
Yeah.
I feel like anytime anybody sticks and puts the badge on and puts himself out there, then we should give them 100% respect. And I think that's something that a lot of times maybe people don't realize that. When you're driving along and maybe speeding or whatever you're doing, and you get pulled over, you lose complete, your, what am I trying to say, your right, your privilege is completely, you are completely under the officer's, care at that point, what he or she says, and that's something that, that's not to be, I, I feel like to give them the utmost respect. Does that make sense? Am I saying that right? Yeah. And I feel like that's something that I hope that they feel that. I don't know that they always do, though.
Well, and keep in mind, that's something that is earned.
That's what, yes.
And so we need to
privilege,
set an
yeah.
example every day that people would like to follow.
Yeah.
We want to set that example. And that's something that's, I think, can be instilled in officers during their training, during their field training days when they go out and work with another officer and learn how to do the job. I think that's a big thing.
Yeah. And I like to see officers at events. Don't you, Holly,
Mm-hmm,
too?
mm-hmm.
Like when any event that I have or anything going on, I always like it when an officer or two or three or whatever shows up. You know
I
what I mean?
agree.
I feel like the culture, though, as we talked about the culture a little bit earlier, has changed. Where, 20, 30 years ago, if an officer told you to do something, you did it without question.
Mm-hmm.
And now there's a lot of sense of entitlement and authority to question what an officer says. And again, the officer has to be doing the right thing for the right reason too, but I think there's a lot more from the culture side of wanting to question and push that envelope with the officers. You know what I mean? Which I don't necessarily agree with.
I agree.
So,
Yeah, I agree with you. I don't
Yeah.
agree with that. Yeah,
yeah.
I do feel like that. And I feel like that's where you get into that disrespect,
Yeah.
the difference, you know what I mean?
Mhm.
And that's something I feel that I hope we get back into that.
Mhm.
You know, and
Well, I
think
think it's something that you need to work as a department as a whole. I think you need to work on trying to regain that respect, because let's face it, even in this culture right here in Washington County, um, police aren't the first person that somebody wants to go talk to anymore. And I think that needs to change. I think our trust, we need to earn our trust back. I think we need to work hard to do that. So, kids aren't taught to uh, find a policeman if you're in trouble anymore, and we need to do that. We need to fix that.
right. Well, and I know a lot of times, I know like done some of the, Indiana State Police have done some listen, PSA, public service announcements and stuff. And that was one thing they really, they want to make sure that, because sometimes when they go to a home and a child sees them, it's not always in the best light.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas they were trying to make that bridge and let the children know and the family know that they are there to help them,
I agree.
And I think that's very valuable and very important.
Well, and that goes back to, if I get sheriff, I'll work very closely with you to have some of those same public service announcements and let people know that, if you're in trouble, if you're lost, if you're having a problem, find a policeman. We will help you. Because believe it or not, in this community, we have some great officers.
Yeah,
we have
we
some
do. We sure do.
super hard workers.
Yeah.
And I can, not even being sheriff yet, I can honestly say, if you have a problem, go find one of those guys, because they will help you. You can trust them, and I want people to know that.
Right. Well, I think getting out, like going to like sporting events, going to activities, going, being a part, and of course we know like our 3 county schools have resource officers that are valuable.
And I hope that's
they
helping.
do a great job.
I hope that's helping
He
some,
does,
because
yes.
those guys
Absolutely.
really work hard to make sure the kids know that they can come to them if they have a problem.
Absolutely, Chris. Yes, and we've got some really good programs, and I hope those continue. And I think that's a good, again, bringing them everybody together to see them in a different light, to realize, and I think we do a great job in this county having all 3 schools having resource officers, and that's you have to have a budget again. Holly's head of the building there at Salem Crossing. I'm here, and you have to be able to. I mean, the paperwork. And this is part of, I don't think people, people see like the sheriff out, but I don't think you realize all of the work and paperwork and budgeting and working all of that and that goes on with being the sheriff.
Well, I used to spend...
It's not as glamorous as it's...
No, it's not. I used to spend hours with Claude Combs, and for every hour he was out, and he was out a lot.
Yeah.
He had 2 or 3 hours worth of paperwork that he was in there doing, trying to get things right, trying to make sure that he was ready for the next council meeting, ready for the next commissioner meeting, whatever the case may be at that point. Mm-hmm. And I'm telling you, it's a huge thing, but I am the guy to tackle that problem and continue making it work.
Do you like, I guess, understand and like, are you good with paperwork like that? I feel like you're talking about your business.
Well, between my business background, I owned a business for 15 years, and I also had, I was the manager at the park. Sure. And believe me, there was tons of paperwork in that, and you can't do it all. You have to surround yourself with good people, and I was very fortunate to have good people down there at the time. Tia Batchelor ended up being my assistant manager for the last few years that I was there.
Fantastic.
And I'll tell you what, she did a great job.
Did, yeah.
She kept things moving for me. So you have to have good people.
Delegate.
Yep.
Nothing wrong with that. Holly
No.
Holly and I talk about that all the time. That if if she can't be there at her building, she's got good
You got to
people.
be able to trust the people under you to make the right decisions when you're not there.
Yeah, and that's important. Yeah. So going back to the paperwork and all of that, and trying to be more, I guess, being more visual in the community. And I feel like we've really done well. I think our officers, I'd love to see them at the different events and things, and I think they have done well on that.
I think they do.
And
yes.
to communicate and to have conversations with people and families and children too, and I think it's a good thing to have that relationship.
One of the other things that I want to bring back is an open door policy. If somebody comes to see me, I want to be able to see them. I want to talk to them. As we talked about the last show I was here, I've put out my cell phone number. That cell phone number is not going to change. I'm not going to not have that cell phone number, or I'm going to have it with me all the time, and I'm not going to get rid of it. So if somebody has a question for me, they can get a hold of me.
Well, that's nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I really think that makes a huge difference. Now, believe me, if I'm in the middle of a homicide investigation or a death investigation of any kind, I may not answer that call right that second,
Might be
but
kind of busy,
the second that I get freed up, I will listen to that message and I will call them back.
Exactly. Yeah. Well, I think that makes sense. I think that's understandable. But I do like that. I feel like we've talked about that. We're in that day of transparency. Like years ago, you just did things, or so to speak. And I'm not saying wrong things. I'm saying you just did. And you might nothing wrong. Just maybe didn't always explain themselves, and now we're in a world where everybody wants to know and explain, and why did you do it this way? Why did you do it that way? More so than years ago, it just was done.
Yeah.
Right? I mean,
well, you're always going to have the Monday morning quarterback, somebody that second guesses what you did when you were there, and the fact of the matter is you were not there. It was the officer that was there, and so nobody else could make that decision at the time. He made the best decision he knew how at the time.
Right. So do you feel like, Chris, right now in your life, do you feel like you're in a good situation or in a good position in your life to step up to put your name in the hat for sheriff?
Certainly. I've trained, basically I've trained my whole life for that position. I've always said I wanted to do that, and I think this is a good time to show the people. I have on all my shirts, my signs, whatever, Strength for Change. That's not just a slogan. That's a fact. That's what we're going to do. We're going to change things and make things better for this community. And I really believe that I can do that.
And like we said last time too, nothing against, I think, I'm just going to put across anybody running for an office, you'll want to do it your way. You're going to want to make it personalized. It might not be, not knocking anybody that's in office right now or what they're doing.
Certainly.
It's just, of course, you want to do it your way. And you have ideas. And that's something that's wonderful about, everybody being diverse in the fact that everybody's got different ideas.
Right.
And different ways of doing things.
Yeah, and I'm not knocking the way things are being done now.
I don't.
I just feel like that I am the most qualified candidate for this position. And if you go out on May 5th and vote, I think you need to vote for the person that's got the most qualities. And I have the qualities, I have the credentials, I have everything that I need, the experience, the training, education, the whole thing across the board. I can be your sheriff.
Right. And going back to the time in your life, because your children are grown,
right,
and now you have more time maybe to devote to this.
Yes, I do, and I'm looking forward to working tirelessly to make things better at that department and in that jail. One of the things that I've had several people come up to me and talk to me about is that people aren't getting their medication. Believe me, they're not. I don't want to say they shouldn't have been out drinking to begin with. And that got them locked up because it says right on the bottle of their medication, "Don't drink when you're taking this" or whatever. But people do it anyway. But that's no reason for somebody not to get their heart medicine for 5 days after they get in there. And I will have. I don't know exactly how it's being done now, but I will have a situation. I will have it set up no matter what it takes. I will make it work. I will have it set up that within 24 hours of somebody being locked up, they will be seen in that first 24 hours. The nurse will call the doctor, talk to them about what they necessarily have to have, and we'll give that to them. We'll make sure that happens. That's a huge thing. I've had several people come up to me and say, I'll vote for you, but you got to do this, this, and this. Well, I can't fix everything that people say, and I tell people that I'm not going to lie to them, but things like this, that's a fixable item. That's something that you can fix because it's not being done correctly right now, and I just believe in that.
Well, I think that there's not going to be any perfect situation, or
life isn't perfect in any way,
right?
Any situation.
Right. And I think that that your ideas, it sounds like you've got a lot and got them written down, and and I'm sure these are things that you're passionate about.
It is. One of the other things that's very important to me, and I don't know exactly how it's being done now, but I've been told by several pastors that I've talked to in the community, hey, we're not able to get to talk to people anymore like we used to be able to. And I do think they have a church service. I don't know how long or whatever, but 107 people, you can't bring 107 people out all at once and try to cram them into a room for services. But if we had different pastors that could come in, back in COVID, they kind of quit all that, and I don't know that they ever actually got it going again. And it's important to me that if somebody has a pastor and they want to see them, I want to make that happen because I grew up in church. I'm a born again Christian. I know for a fact that some of our people that we lock up are not. And I would like to get that message across. However it takes, or whatever it takes to do that, I want to make sure that happens.
Right. Well, I think sometimes things like we know COVID changed a lot.
It did.
And these are things that and again, everybody's going to do it their way.
Right.
You go back and I think we've had fantastic sheriffs here in Washington County, and I think we've had the best of the best. But each one of them is unique. And everybody's unique, and everybody does it their way, which is what you want when you put somebody in office. You want it because you want to learn from this one and a little bit from this one, take from this one a little bit, and everything. I do think that those are great programs. I know a lot of people that do their ministry, and those are really good. Those are great.
Well, what's it called? The REC, I think.
I can't
Is it what that comes in every year? Now I think they still come in, and I think that's great.
Yeah.
But I think that there are other pastors, other people that ought to be allowed in also, and I know it's a little extra work for the jailer, for the matrons, that sort of thing, but in the long run, it's worth it. If one soul is saved, it's worth it to me. So that's how I look at it.
Yeah. We know there's a lot of great families that have got loved ones, and in jail. And so, I'm sure the families would be very appreciative of that.
Well, and I am in a situation that I am unique from anybody else because I understand the other side. Because you know what? I went through a terrible relationship breakup, and I did exactly what I told people for 30 years not to do, and I got locked up. And you know what I found out is people aren't being treated very well in there. They're not being treated like humans. They're not being treated with respect, and I'm going to fix that. I just think that that important. But now I'm in a position that no other candidate can say. I've actually spent time in that jail, and I saw how they were treated. I saw that when I wanted to make a phone call, and I would ask to make a phone call, or I wanted a blanket, just an extra blanket, I was told, I was backing another candidate at the time, who was running for sheriff, and I was told, call your buddy, the candidate, see if he can probably fix it. Well, that's not right. I'm sorry. Everybody should be treated the same in there, no matter what goes on. And that's just one instance. That's one situation. But I'll tell you what it did. It made me believe all those other stories I'm hearing. Now, some of those stories may get embellished a little bit, but the fact of the matter is, they wouldn't be talking at all if part of that wasn't true. And so I want to do a deep dive. I want to fix that situation, and I want our people to be professional 24/7, no matter what. When they're on the clock, they're on the job, I want them to be professional. When they're home in their private life, I want them to be professional, because that's part of what this job is. And when you pin that badge on, you are a policeman 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. And I want people to know that. I mean, believe me, it's a tough situation to try to uphold that. But I believe that we have good people out there. I believe they can be trained to do that. And I'm going to work very hard at job retention and keep the people that we have, because I'm sure the men and women of Washington County that are working in the jail or on the road, they're good people. And I want to hold on to those people, because I know that they all have a specialty of some sort that they have interest in that will make our department a well-rounded department.
Well, and going back to talking about having their pastors or whoever their spiritual leader is come in, I think that's important, because, you know, recovery is tough, and trying to get over any type of addictions is tough. And you never know when that one time is going to be the time they turn their life around.
That's right.
And that they don't go back to jail again. But you never know when that's going to be. It could be the turning point for their life that they need, you know.
And believe me, if one person in there, they don't have a pastor, they don't have this or that, I'll bring them to my office and I'll talk to them, because I've led many people to the Lord, and I know what I'm doing when that happens. And I have some fallback from some friends that are pastors. Troy Mary is a great example of that. He would come out no matter what. If he thought he could save a soul, he would come out anytime, day or night. And, you know, we've been friends. I told you last time we were neighbors and growing up, and I know the man, and I know that he would come out and take care of things.
Yeah. I think, and I think that that's something that is very, I think families, that's important, you know, for families, you know, because, and you know, there's no, you know, I heard years ago someone say something about, you know, this was years ago, said something about, oh, I can fix the drug problem. That's not ever, I mean, you'd be a millionaire if you can do that. Nobody can fix that. You know, I mean, that's
Right.
something that you just are going to have to deal with.
You're going to have to work at it,
Work
though.
at it, yes. And not saying that you can't make it better.
Right.
You know what I mean? But it like will forever be something that will have to be tended to.
Well, I about fell out of my chair the night of the forum, and I'm not going to say who it was, but one of the candidates for sheriff said, well, you know, I think things are going pretty good, and I don't really see too much of a drug problem. I about fell out of my chair. And you're still working here? What's the deal? I just didn't understand that, because I, as an outsider, I see it every day, and I know that it's going on, and I still have, believe it or not, I still have CIs, confidential informants, call me and say, hey, you got to fix this. I'm not an officer anymore. And usually I try to shovel them off to somebody that I know that they can trust, that sort of thing. But I just when that was said at that forum, I couldn't believe it.
Well, I think you're forever going to have that. I mean, I think that's just that's just part of what you're
It'll
doing.
forever be, but you can make a significant impact of reducing it where it's not out of control.
That's exactly right.
And right now, I feel like it's out of control.
Yeah.
Well, we're just in baby steps,
And believe me, here's the deal. Maybe one of those candidates, because the other 4 candidates are all working officers. Well, Danny Lipke's not a full-time officer, but he's a reserve.
Sure.
But out of all those officers that I was talking with that night of the forum, when that officer said that, I just couldn't believe what I was hearing. But maybe some of that is, hey, they don't want to upset the current sheriff. They don't want to make waves because it could cause them problems or whatever. But Brent's not that way. If Brent knows for a fact, and Brent knows that there's problems, so it just really surprised me to hear that be said out there.
Sure. Yeah, and I'm a Brent fan, so there's nothing.
I mean, Brent's fine. Brent and I went to school together.
Job. Yeah.
We graduated high school together. We went to college together the first 2 years before I went on.
But this isn't like anything that anybody can solve. I don't care who gets in office. It'd be unrealistic. It would be an unrealistic setup for anybody to say that they're going to end it. You know what I'm saying? That's not realistic.
And I agree with that. However, I do believe that you can make it an environment that people are scared to death to sell or to buy or to whatever they're doing, because of the fact that, hey, if I do that, there's a good chance I'm going to get caught. So I think you can make that environment to where people are, if nothing else, they're worried sick about selling because they know that they're going to go to jail.
Right, and I think I think everyone should keep striving at putting an end to it. I'm not saying that.
And I will never be able. I'm not coming to you today and telling you that I know everything, because I don't.
Right.
And I'll learn a lot as I go forward, and if I'm elected as a sheriff. But let me tell you, I know a lot about what's going on, and I will never quit striving to make Washington County a better place to live, a better place for people to move into, bring their kids into, put them in the schools, and see that, hey, you know what, we have officers in the schools. We're trying to make sure things are right. I mean, I've been through some of the training with the school shooting, active shooter training, that sort of thing, and it can be a scary situation, but I'll be the first guy through the door. I won't ever send somebody through that door that I won't go through myself.
Well, that speaks volumes. That's very much so. Well, I think these are good things, and I think definitely to have goals and to have things that you want to do it your way. I think I called you Frank. Like, we all love Frank Sinatra. When you get in office, you want to do it your way, and you should.
Right. That's exactly right.
And I think that you got to keep on keeping. I'm not ever telling anybody. I don't want that to come across like that. I just think it's something that's going to definitely be here.
It's going to plague our community.
Well, it's going to be here, so it's just you got to and taking strides and helping families. I feel like there's some beautiful families that. And I think it means a lot to the families to hear if their loved ones can get help or get that guidance or get someone to help out.
That's right.
I think that's very valuable.
Well,
let
me say, there is not one family in this community that's not touched some way, shape, or form by somebody that's in the jail, whether it be a family member, whether it be a family member's friend, whether it be a friend of somebody that John Doe's kids, they're thrown in jail, and I'm best friends with John Doe. I hate that. I hate that happens, but there's nobody in this community, in this county of 23,000 roughly, there's nobody in this community that's not been touched some way, shape, or form by drugs, and we really need to work on that.
And I think I don't think we should ever stop.
No, I
Yeah.
don't think so either.
Onward Ho We Sail, right?
Yep,
You know.
that's right.
What about like as far as like your because the sheriff is the leader. Like are you going to have meetings with your staff? Are you going to keep communication? I feel like do you feel like that, Holly, too? Like Holly's up there, and I know communication is so valuable and so important to let everybody know what's going on and what the deal is. And do you feel like you are a good leader at that?
I think so. We used to have once a week or sometimes daily, depending. We had meetings with most of our staff down at the park. I had to hit it at different times because I had different lifeguards working different days, different shifts, different situations. Gatehouse employees the same way, but we had those type meetings, and I told them, if there's something that we can be doing to make things different, make things better, let me know. And they were good about that. Angel always had something that she thought could make things better. Now,
No, I know.
I know you're kind of chuckling about that because she's yours, but
Yeah,
the fact of the matter is, she is a very smart individual, and she knew what she was doing. Tia Batchelor, same thing. She always said, she would come to me, and she didn't have to do it just at the meeting because she and I spent a lot of time working on books or whatever, and she would say, hey, what about this? And if it was a good idea, I did it. I started it because I'm a firm believer that if you listen to your employees, you're going to hear things that, not everything, you can't do everything, but if you listen to your employees, you're going to find situations where you can make things better.
Right. Well, I feel like that when you're talking about a police department or the county sheriff's office, I feel like it's very important to have those relationships with the everybody. You've got so many different things going, and I think our county's kind of unique in that fact that you also are over the jail, you're also over the officers, and then you have dispatch. I mean, there's like maybe or like those are three kind of big areas there.
Well, something I learned from Claude Combs. Claude would come in on almost every shift, a couple times a month, and just see what's going on. Talk to the dispatchers working, talk to the jailers working.
Which hats off to those dispatchers, right?
Yes,
Mm-hmm.
they
Shout out
work
to them.
hard.
Yes, they do.
They work hard.
Yes, they do.
And they're good at what they do.
Yeah.
And they're not only now, since the city and county joined, they're not only taking care of county problems, but they're taking care of the entire county problem. And so everything, when you hit 911, you're going to talk to one of the officers or one of the dispatchers that I'm going to be over. And they're going to be professional to you. They're going to help. They already are. They do a great job.
Yeah.
And I look forward to working with them because they're good people. And they go home to a family just like we do at the end of every day. And if they have a problem, I want them to be able to feel comfortable enough to come and talk to me about that because I will do my best to fix it.
Right. Well, I think you're talking about some really hard jobs.
They are hard jobs.
It's very difficult, and then, whenever your shift is over or when you're done,
Well, that's the thing
back.
for the 4 years, if I don't run again or whatever, but at least for 4 years, possibly 8, you don't have your shift's never over. No matter what you do, you go home, and I've seen so many times when Claude would try to take Jeannie out to eat or something, and they'd still have to call him. Hey, how do you want to handle this?
Yeah.
And he took care of it. He got to where he could run some of that stuff over the phone, but believe me, if he needed to be there, he was on his way back.
Well, I think a lot of our sheriffs are that way.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, I agree.
It's very, it's very demanding.
Yeah.
It is. And I think that, you have to be ready for the hours you're going to be putting in and, and again, not always so glamorous, a lot of paperwork, a lot of communication is important.
Well, and I will tell the voters of Washington County, that there will never be a time in Washington County, like there has been in the past 8 years. There has been a couple times when we didn't have officers on. There will never be a time like that, and it will never be. It would never, under my administration, it will never ever be broadcast over the air that, hey, because you know what that does? Hey, we don't have any officers on from midnight to 6 in the morning. Well, that's just like writing an invitation to people from out of the county to come in here and rob you blind. So my situation, there will never be a time like that. If I have to work it myself, there will be coverage 100% of the time. You have that. That is a pledge that I will stand behind 100%. And you know, there's money in the overtime budget. You know, I'm sure there's guys out there that would like to have some extra time, to, you know, extra money. So there's several different ways to handle that. But if for some reason those things don't comply, they don't work out, I will be there. I will be the one handling that shift that night, because I'm not going to put anybody in that kind of situation. I'm not going to put any of our taxpayers. We already pay more taxes than we want to pay, so let's give them something for that and make sure that there's always somebody out there.
Do you feel like we need more officers, or are we low on officers, or do we need more officers?
Well, if we could get the officers up to staff, if we could staff the officers that we were allotted,
okay,
I think I can work with that without any problem. Could we use extra officers? We could always use extra officers, but the fact of the matter is, if we can just get the officers staffed up to where we're at, I think I can make that work without any problem. And I'll work hard with the officers. They will definitely have input in it, but we're going to come up with some schedules that and vote on those schedules to see who wants to work a schedule that gives us more coverage, more officers on the street at any given time.
Right. Chris, we're getting close on time. Was there anything we missed that you wanted to get out of today?
Well, the only thing I can say is that I can tell Washington County, I want to be your sheriff, and I will work hard for you. I will do whatever it takes to get the job done at any time. That's the environment that I came out of. Whatever it took, I stayed until it was over. And just like the bombings in 1988, you know, I worked late shift that night as a dispatcher, but I came out as a reserve. Even though I was an EMT, they called me and said, hey, we're having trouble blocking every intersection.
Yeah.
So me and my partner at the Brian Cook, we brought an ambulance out and we set and directed traffic for them. You know, just stuff like that. I will always be there. I will stay till the job is finished, no matter what it takes.
Awesome. So if let's go back over. Okay, so on election day, which we've already started early voting. So early voting has started. How does it read on your ballot?
Chris Strange.
Okay.
Yep.
Chris Strange.
I had him put just Chris Strange. My full name's Christopher, but people know me as Chris, so I had him put it on the ballot, Chris Strange.
Okay.
And because of alphabetical order, just drop down to the last person on the ballot, and that's me. So I really think that I can make a difference in Washington County. I really think I can make a difference at the Sheriff's Department, and I will have an open door policy. You can come and see me anytime you want, and I will do my best, unless I'm just completely tied up with something that I can't get away from. I will do my best to bring you back to the office and talk about whatever problems you have, because I'm a problem solver and I can make things better. I know I can.
So this is Chris Strange for Washington County Sheriff, paid for by Chris Strange for Washington County Sheriff. Thank you so much for coming in this morning, hanging out. Holly, always fun seeing you too. Everyone have a great weekend. Got a busy weekend ahead of us and things going. And this weather, let's give it a huge compliment, right?
Oh, it's been wonderful, hasn't it?
I know. I'm like over the moon.
Were you cold in Boston?
Freezing. You know, it's funny. Yeah, I wanted to get back home on that. Yeah. So I was hearing the temperatures that were hitting, and I was like, oh my goodness, yeah, Boston is very cold. Yeah, yeah. So, thank you for asking about that, Chris. Yeah. All right, let's thank our sponsors, Holly.
We'd like to thank Meadowview Healthcare, Walmart, Salem Crossing, Americans for Prosperity, Mama Roses, Fox Lee Wealth Management, Dr. Black's Eye Associates, Dr. Mindy Gunn, Marshall Monuments, Springer and Springer Insurance, Schneck Hospital, Temple and Temple, and West Bowers for Commissioner. Thanks for our great sponsors.
Thank you. Thanks, Holly Thompson, Salem Crossing, and Chris Strange. Let's have the best Friday ever.
Give Du Bois County Tire a call. Big or small, they service all. They have the name brand tires, to keep you cruising on down the road. They got tires for driving mean. They even got them for your farm machine. You can call them day or night. Du Bois County Tire does it right. Big or small, we service all. Du Bois County Tire.
Now through March 31st, get up to $180 back on a Bridgestone prepaid MasterCard. Get $80 when you buy a set of 4 eligible Bridgestone tires. Get an additional $100 when you make an eligible tire purchase with your CFNA credit card. Available at Washington County Tire Shop in Salem. Subject to credit approval, restrictions apply. See BridgestoneRewards.com for details.
Big or small, we service all. Du Bois County Tire.
Bourbon and Beyond is back. The world's largest music, spirits, and culinary experience returns to the heart of Louisville, Kentucky, featuring Foo Fighters, Mumford & Sons, Chris Stapleton, Dave Matthews Band, Queens of the Stone Age, Casey Musgraves, plus Red Clay Strays, Hootie and the Blowfish, The War on Drugs, Foster the People, Jason Isbell and the 400 Unit, Counting Crows, Jesse Wells, Jesse Murph, Goose, and so many more. Bourbon and Beyond returns to Kentucky Expo Center September 24th through 27th with access to the thrills of Kentucky Kingdom Theme Park. Don't miss the best 4 days of the year, blending world-class music, food, bourbon, and more. Passes are on sale now at bourbonandbeyond.com.
At Papa John's, get your everyday favorites for just $6.99 each when you order 2 or more items from the Papa Pairings menu. When you order more, you save more. Choose from medium one-topping pizzas, boneless or traditional wings, papadillas, breadsticks, cheese sticks, garlic knots, and desserts. It's easy to order all your favorites when they're just $6.99 each. So the next time your friends come over to eat your food, check out the Papa Pairings menu to save. Better ingredients, better pizza. Papa John's.
Hi, this is Wes Bowers, and I'm a Republican candidate for District 2 Commissioner here in Washington County. If you're anything like me, you're tired of the way business in our county has been conducted. Whether it be improper procedure or a simple lack of communications, things rarely seem fair to the average person, but appear to benefit a few that are in the right positions. I believe that my 12 years in the Marine Corps, coupled with the last 15 years owning and operating my own business, have provided me with the leadership tools necessary to help steer this county in a fair, positive, and fiscally responsible direction for everyone. Let's get away from the career politicians and the so-called way it's always been mentality and work for a county that actually benefits everyone. Again, this is Wes Bowers, and I would greatly appreciate your vote.
If you would like to know more about Wes, please find him on Facebook at Wes for Commissioner, paid for by Wes Bowers for Commissioner.
When it comes to getting the job done right, from driveways to bridge work and paving to construction and excavating, there's one name you can count on: Temple & Temple Excavating. Serving homeowners and also handling big jobs for city, county, and state highway projects, they've built a reputation on quality work since 1948. Driveways, construction, demolition. If you need it moved, cleared, built,